Welcome back to Dubbzi Bricks for another episode of building Gotham City in Lego, and I wish I could use this model in Gotham City. It's such a cool build, but as you can see, way too big. In the last few updates, I've been working on this area, and I absolutely love the Wayne Terminus. I think it's such a cool looking location. And as I mentioned at the end of last week, I wish I could have made this a lot bigger, but I am restricted at the moment on this area just here. Now, one thing I have been considering over the last few days is possibly moving this structure here to somewhere where I can extend upon it, which is something I really would like to do. I would like to make this the main Batcave within this Gotham City. And what I'm considering doing is if we come down this end of the table, so we've got the raised platform that'll be having buildings, tower blocks on along here. I was going to have some water going across the table here, and then you're going to have a rock face with a Batcave behind it, Wayne Manor on top of it. But I've always been a little bit apprehensive about this because I don't personally think that a Wayne Manor is going to look correct or in proportion to the rest of the city. This is part of the old Wayne Tower. Here we have the Flatiron-esque building, and these are supposed to be really big structures within a city, and you're going to have a Wayne Manor that's bigger than those. And I just don't think it's going to look right scale-wise. I think it's going to look a little bit out of place. So I'm very apprehensive about doing that. And one thing I've been thinking over the last few days is, how about if I put Wayne Terminus down here, scrap the idea of having a rock face and a Batcave there, do away with having Wayne Manor altogether, have a big Wayne Tower on there. So we'll be going back to having two Wayne Towers. So I will still have the old Wayne Tower down here somewhere, and then the new Wayne Tower will be over here. And you'll then be looking down the centre of Gotham City. Now, what this would mean is I would have the Wayne Terminus. It'd be quite a large area. I would still like to have an element of a Batcave being in rocks. So I could actually have it so there's like a hole in the wall. So you have Wayne Terminus one area, go through this hole in the wall, and then it leads to a more rocky area where you've then got more bat suits, more a trophy room, the dinosaur, and all the good stuff like that. And it's just something I think might be a good compromise on it. Now, the other good thing as well, if I do this whole area over here was just going to be water. I've then got that as real estate that I could use for other buildings. I would love to have a hospital in Gotham City, and I could have a nice size hospital over there. I could have Blackgate Prison somewhere as well. So there's so many other builds that I could add to this city, which I think would look a lot better than just having some rock work, a mansion on the top, which I personally think is going to look out of place. I think it would just in the Batcave. So if you can imagine, we'd have the old Wayne Terminus. Then through here, there'll be an archway which goes through to the rocky Batcave. So yeah, that's just something I'm thinking about at the moment. So what I'm going to do to start with in this update, I'm going to clear that section off at the back there, the base plates, and I'm just going to map out where things would be. Just give me a better visual as to whether or not this is something that I should be considering some more. And the mapping out for this end of the table has been very positive so far, and I'm really liking the idea of moving Wayne Terminus down to this end. I think scrapping the Batcave and Wayne Manor on top is definitely the right thing for this Lego city. I was stood over in the far corner over there looking down the table earlier on, and just seeing all of these buildings just resting here. They're not even the height of the skyscrapers that are going to be here. The skyscrapers are going to be much taller, and it just looked so good in that sort of style. And I just think having one manor house up here, it's just not going to look right. It's going to look out of place, which is the last thing I want to do. So apologies for all those people that hope to see a traditional Batcave with Wayne Manor on top, but at this moment in time, I don't think that it's the best decision. Further down the line, what I could do possibly is extend the actual table here over to the wall where the computer is, and then have Wayne Manor on that wall. But at this moment in time, I'm using that. Obviously, as you can see, my computer's over there, and I've also built in the Tantive and the Onyx Cinder over there. But who knows? Further down the line, we might rearrange part of the Lego room and extend the city. But anyway, back to what we've got here layout wise. From the pink brick there to there, that is the size of our current Wayne Terminus. And now I'm going to extend it to this size here. So much more room in there. There'll be room for 2 train tracks going along there, as you see in the Batman film. There will also be another train track along the edge here, which will have the train carriages on top of them. The section over the back there, that is going to be the size of the hospital, but it's going to be raised up, as obviously there would have been train tracks going underneath it. So it probably won't be quite as tall as the raised platform. So I might have it so that it's at two different heights there. And then down here, this section just here, is going to be a lair for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I thought it'd be quite cool to add them into it. And that little bit there I'm going to do as a sewage work. So it's like a sewage pipe sort of thing. And then up on the top here, we'll have another skyscraper or two. And in that section just there, also got to remember there will be, or would have been, I mean, it's going to be blocked off on the edge of the Batcave there, but there'll be a hole in the wall where you can come through to a brick effect Batcave, where there's going to be a trophy room and a few more of the suits and possibly the dinosaur. There's not a massive amount of room, so I'll just experiment and see how much I can fit in there. But the train track would obviously have come round this way. So yeah, that is currently the plan. So I hope people like it. I know there are going to be people that are going to be really disappointed that we don't have that Wayne Manor, as I said, but yeah, I think this is the best way forward for the overall look of the city. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to start bringing over sections of the old Wayne Terminus that we've already made and put it over there. We'll probably have to amend a fair bit of it because obviously it's a lot wider now, but at least I've got an idea of what I'm going to be doing, and I'm confident I'll get a lot of this done in this update. So let's bring the bricks over and let's get started. Here we have the foundations for the new Wayne Terminus, and I'm so pleased that I've gone down this route. I'm going to be getting so much more out of this area of the table. Instead of just having a Batcave, rockwork, and a Wayne Manor, we're probably going to be getting about at least six more structures in the city, which is going to make it look more like a city. So I'm glad I have gone down this route. Now, with the Wayne Terminus area here, this is where we're going to have the disused train carriages, the red ones that you see in the film. And the train tracks here, they're going to veer off around the side here. It's as if the train track went out of the city that way. This raised area here is the start of the foundations for the hospital. And I will have it, the hospital starts on the lower level here, and then it will go up to the top section. And I can't wait to start on the hospital. I think that's going to be a real fun build. And they're going to have it so that you can arrive at the hospital by boat, and there will also be a helipad on the top as well. Now on this wall here, I'll be doing the decorative wall on the inside, up a row of filler brick here, and then an outer skin as well. So I need to make sure that's nice and sturdy to help take the weight of the roof of the Wayne Terminus, as it's going to have to take the weight of a big heavy building on the top there. And then, as I mentioned earlier, that area there is where we're going to do the rock effect additional Batcave for like the suit room, trophy room and bits and pieces like that. So yeah, so much exciting stuff that's going to be going on in this area. So fingers crossed you're going to like what's to come on that side of things. So anyway, without further ado, let's start building that wall up just there. The walls all started on the new Wayne Terminus, and I'm so pleased I've made the decision to bring it down to this end of the table and extend on the size of it. It already feels so much grander just by having 3 railway lines in here. It's a lot more of what you would expect from the Wayne Terminus just in the one line that I previously had. So yeah, glad I made the decision to make these changes. Now, down the end here, what I'm going to be doing is putting a curved bit of track, just so you can see the tracks veering off. And what I'll do is I'll put black bricks at the back so you can't see any further through there. So it just gives the illusion it's gone into darkness. And this is obviously going underneath the hospital. So that's the part I'm going to concentrate on next. Building the archway over, building inside the start of the tunnel. And then I'll carry on building the supports up, ready for the hospital to go on the back of it. On the end here, we'll be putting those stopper sections, I don't know what they're actually called, which you see at the end of railway lines, as that would have been the end of that particular line. And again, we'll have an archway down here, but it's going to all be boarded off, as will this section just down here. And of course, I still need to build this wall here, but obviously leave an archway in here or a hole in the wall here so you can get through to the rock effect back cave, which will be behind there. I'm taking the opportunity where I've rebuilt this, obviously the walls of the Wayne Terminus here, to put a lot more details into the walls. Somebody mentioned about having rise and damp in the walls, and somebody else mentioned about having cracked tiles on the floor. And I thought, yeah, get all these details in, might as well. It's going to look a lot better, a lot older, more weathered. And I just need to order some tiles in so I can get the correct effect on the floor. So I probably will just tile it with plain tiles to start with, because it's really easy to peel those off and replace them further down the line. But there's the bat symbol, that's already been moved across as well, as you'd have seen in the time lapse. But anyway, that's enough talking. Let's concentrate on getting this section here done, and I'll check back in once I've done so. And progress is being made, and decisions need to be made at the same time. The tunnel entrance, that's all been blocked up now. I did put some curved track in there. However, I was struggling to put the black bricks over the top of it due to the stud alignment and the fact that the track was going off at the angle. So I ended up going for straight track, and that's allowed me to build really tight to the track, and it stops any light from coming through. Now, with this whole Wayne Terminus, if it was in the same configuration as the previous one, then the ramp would have been going up here, out of this wall just there above where that doorway is at the moment. However, because the hospital is back here, or going to be back there, there'll be no room for the back cave to emerge from the hole. Now, I could just put a hole down low and you use your imagination as to where the back cave, the Batmobile actually comes out. But it would be nice to actually have a physical road coming out of this back cave. So what I'm considering doing is doing almost a mirror image of the old Wayne Terminus layout. So the stairs will now be this side as opposed to on the left here. the trains would still be at the back there, so the station would be on that back wall. This will mean I'm going to have to move the bat symbol, annoyingly, but I do need to reinforce this wall anyway to help take the weight of the roof. At the moment it's only 1 skin deep, so I can do this all in one go. Then on this side here, I'll put the bat symbol over here, and I've got two choices. I could either do a ramp that starts here and goes up over the doorway there, which leads to the other bat cave, or I could do it so the ramp goes up out of this train line here. So I remove those pillars that are there, the support pillars, because that was just going to be blocked off. Then I have it, the ramp comes up, and then it will be comes out at the top of the raised platform area here, behind a building or a dumpster or behind a billboard. We'll find some way of doing that concealed entrance to the ramp, and I do think that could potentially look a lot better. So I think that is almost certainly the way I'm going to go around it. So what I'm going to start off by doing is removing the bat symbol, move that over to the other side, reinforce this wall on the right hand side, but then remove the pillars, and then that will get that all sorted out. Once I've done all of that, I'm going to start bringing the stairs over that will be over this side, and then I'll also do the structure, which takes the support structure for the actual Wayne Terminus building itself that'll be going on the top there. So let's make those amendments, and I'll check back in once I've done so. And that's the bat symbol all moved over to this side of the Wayne Terminus. I put the curved track inside there, and also started building the walls. Just need to plate and tile underneath the curved sections, but also work out exactly how I'm going to be having the ramp coming out of this section. Over on this side, I've rebuilt the wall back up just using some plain bricks. And what I'm going to do now is bring the stair sections over from the old Wayne Terminus to place here. Hopefully they'll come up quite easily, and I won't have to do too much of a rebuild. The one bit I will need to rebuild, though, is the centre bit, as obviously the width of the actual bridge itself is a lot larger now. And that's the steps and bridge put over the railway track, and need to do a little bit more work on the front section just there. Not 100% happy with that. And when I do finally find out my Wayne Terminus brick, that will obviously go on there as well. But now we've got that all in place, pretty much ready to put the support pillars behind there, and then start building the Wayne Terminus building itself up once again. I will change this section just here. There's no need for it to step back. I try to keep it in keeping with the other side as well. However, it just doesn't look right. So where the building will be going right up against it, I will amend that. Won't take much to do. And I'll possibly do the same there. I will keep that arch, as I'm probably only going to have the building coming to there. So yes, that doesn't actually need to be there. In regards to the ramp, I've just placed this one in here for the time being, just so people can visualise what the plan is. And on the back here, so round about where that brick wall finishes, I'm going to build a wooden effect structure there, and possibly have an opening door on there. There'll be so that people can't actually get into the Wayne Terminus building. Now, somebody did put in the comments last time out about the support beams here. Will they take the weight of the massive structure that's going ahead? And they do look very, very flimsy, but these are very strong pieces. And I will be having cross beams going across in both directions, and they are going to be quite thick. So fingers crossed they are going to be really, really sturdy. With the help of these propping them up, it should, fingers crossed, be okay. But what I will do is I will put a very heavy weight on the very top of it before I put the actual building itself on, just to make sure that these can take the weight and there's not going to be an issue. What I could possibly do is double up the number of these pillars, so I have them so they're back to back on each one, so it's 4 studs by 2. That could very well help with the structural side of it. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes along. We'll get a good idea once we start putting it all together as to whether or not there's enough strength there. Now, a couple of comments we had last week. One was in regards to the ramp. Somebody said they didn't think it looked wide enough, and it's 8 studs in width. The vehicle here that I'm using, just for reference, is 6 studs, or is classed as 6 studs vehicle. But when you take those wheel arches into account, it's actually 7 studs, and obviously it's plenty big enough. It works absolutely fine as the ramp. Another comment I had was in regards to the width of vehicles. Somebody was asking, did I think that it was a good idea to have 6 studs as opposed to 8? Would I not got better details in an 8 stud wide vehicle? And I would love to go down the route of an 8 stud wide vehicle. You can get so much more details in. However, my personal thoughts are it won't look as good. When you put a vehicle next to a building here, if it's 8 studs wide as opposed to 6, it does make quite a big difference to the scaling. And I think the bigger the vehicle, the smaller the buildings themselves actually look. So that is one of the reasons. Another reason, the roads are 16 studs wide. 8 stud wide vehicles, realistically, once you take the wheel arches and mirrors into account, are close to 9 studs. 2 vehicles can't get down the 16 stud road. And I believe that 16 stud wide roads are what you get in the Lego set. So I might be wrong. Apologies if I am. But yeah, I just think 6 studs is going to work better for this city. Now going back to the old train station. This area here will not be wasted. The platforms are going to stay. The train track's going to stay. I'm actually going to make this an operational train station now. So all the work I did on the structural side around it, although I've stolen a fair few bricks, won't take long to replace it. I will make this a train station that is actually in operation. So we're going to have 2 train stations in this subway. So yeah, that's not all wasted. It's just been relocated, should we say. And here we have the before and after pictures. So here is a couple of pictures of the before from different angles, and here we have the after. So a nice bit of progress been made on this section of the table. Anyway, that's all we have time for. I hope you've enjoyed the update. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And if you know anybody else you think would be interested in building Gotham City in Lego, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for popping on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.